Paducah Planning and Zoning Commission. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call this meeting to order. If you'll call the roll, please.
Mr. Benberry?
Here.
Mr. Bradford?
Here.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
Vice Chair Shrimpton?
Here.
Mr. Shadle?
Here.
Mr. Wade?
Here.
Chair Cassis?
And we'll start by reviewing the minutes from our last meeting. Mr. Shadle, do you have that, I believe?
Yes, I do. I move that the readings of the minute for November 7th, 2016 be waived, and the minutes of said meeting as prepared by the secretary be approved as written.
So moved and seconded. All in favor? Any changes? Thank you. Our next item then will be T&S Properties, and Mr. Wade, do you have that?
Yes, I move that this commission receive and file the application of T&S Properties LLC for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 3220 and 3300 Wayne Sullivan Drive. I further move that the requested approval be given in compliance with all other applicable provisions of the Paducah subdivision ordinance be waived.
And I think Josh is motioning that I forgot to let him.
We got to call the roll.
We
Yes,
have to
for
call the roll for
minutes.
the approval of the minutes.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mr. Benberry? Mr. Bradford?
Aye.
Mr. Morrison?
Aye.
Vice Chair Shrimpton?
Aye. Now we can go back to the motion, for the reading from
I'd be
Mr.
happy to
Wade.
reread the motion.
Would
or
you
just let
please?
it-
Thank you.
I move that this commission receive and file the application of T&S Properties LLC for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 3220 and 3300 Wayne Sullivan Drive. I further move that the requested approval be given in compliance with all other applicable provisions of the Paducah subdivision ordinance be waived.
Second.
A little bit of background on this. The Planning Commission closed this right away, I believe it was back in August. This isn't a planned unit development, meaning that whatever is going to be built on this piece of property will come to you all for approval before building permits and things of that nature are issued. And Mr. Gardner's here with the surveyor, if y'all have any other additional questions.
Well, the only question I had, and I spoke to you earlier before the meeting, was the floodplain in the middle of the properties, but you assured me that that then becomes the
Right.
topic of conversation if they come back to us with a plan to build something on top of it.
Sure. Whenever we have a floodplain or a ditch or something of that nature, that's typically taken into consideration on the engineering end with their stormwater calculations and things of that nature.
Any other questions,
Is there any
comments?
need to block those? You know, we talked about concrete, different things on different projects before.
That'll be handled on the site plan level.
Okay.
As far as I know, Mike, do you know if those concrete entrances are coming out on the site plan end?
Okay.
Definitely. Where all your entrances are, they're going to keep those and use those as ingress and egress access to the property. He's gonna be building storage units here, so he needs as many entrances as he can get, so he's gonna utilize every one of them.
Thank you.
This is a state road, so they control the
They do.
entrances.
Any other questions, comments? Call the roll.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mr. Benberry?
Aye.
Mr. Bradford?
Aye.
Mr. Morrison?
Aye.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Vice Chair Shrimpton?
Aye. Next item of business is the City of Paducah at 1306 and 1310 Madison and 325 North 13th. And I believe Mr. Morrison has that.
Yes, ma'am. I move that the commission receive and file the application of the City of Paducah for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 1306 and 1310 Madison Street and 325 North 13th Street. I further move that the requested approval be given and compliance with all other applicable provisions of the Paducah subdivision ordinance be waived.
Second.
A little bit of background on this one as well. The City of Paducah owns all three of these 40-foot lots. 40 foot isn't really big enough to build a house of any size on, so we're requesting for a property line to be put down the center for two 60-foot lots. We do have an individual that would like to build a house on Track D, which is the one further in the Fountain Avenue neighborhood. Some years ago, y'all may recall an old car wash that was facing North 13th, and it was tore down, and a smaller house was behind it, and all these lots are vacant at this time.
And how did that work, Josh? Did the prospective person who wants to build on here, did they come to the city, or did the city decide?
Sure, what they'll do, it'll be a sealed bid, just like any other piece of surplus property in the city. They'll propose what they're wanting to do and how much that they are willing to pay for the property, and that goes to urban renewal and ultimately to city commission.
And just out of curiosity, is it keeping with the theme of everything else that's done? Just assumed it was.
As
see
far
head
as I know,
shaking.
I haven't seen final house plans yet, so.
But normally it would be.
Normally it
60
would
be
be.
approved.
60, I will say 60-foot lots become much more marketable
Yes.
for current construction standards than 40-foot lots.
Yeah.
Well, that was why I asked the question. I didn't know if the city was the proactive in making two 60-foot lots, or if there was interest.
Well, the gentleman that wants to build there, he's got a wider house plan that requires more than just a 40-foot lot, so we're trying to accommodate him as well. And then plus have a bigger lot for ourselves for future
Yes,
development.
that'll be a win-win situation.
I
Okay.
see that the plat says 9,900 square feet per tract. Do you have any idea what that equates to in terms of acres? Acreage? Is it It's under a quarter of an acre?
Quarter.
Well, the reason I asked that, because I was wondering if you all had put any thought into doing the half acre instead of the quarter acre. I mean, I don't really think it really matters all that much. It's up to the city what they want to do, but just a curiosity more than anything.
No, we really haven't, Mr. Bradford, just trying to accommodate whoever wants to buy the
Yeah.
lot and still have plenty of room for what we would
And
hopefully get a
maintain
future
density.
investment.
Mhm. Yeah, sure.
How's that overall project? Josh, I hadn't looked at it in quite a while.
We've had, I'm wanting to say at least 11 or 12 million dollars in public and private reinvestment since April of 2007 in the neighborhood. We've got at least 3 under construction right now. An individual is looking at the house that we built on Harrison Street. That's the 2-bedroom, kind of purplish looking house. When I talked to Charlie last week, somebody is considering purchasing that one, or has it under consideration. So, Fountain Avenue's moving along.
wonderful
It's really-
project.
How
it's
are
really
you
great success
involved in
story.
houses over on the other side of Jackson Street? I was over there one day, going back toward Morgan. Are you, got some pieces over there on some of the back streets over there? Some I've just ran into, it looked like you might be doing some things over there like you are in Midtown.
It may be code enforcement doing that.
Maybe what?
It may be the code enforcement guys that might be cleaning some things up.
That may be.
Josh, with that Fountain Avenue, I don't know the specifics, but do we offer anything that, for police and fire that purchased or moved in that area, or is it just like a citizen?
As far as I know, as far as the police, they do have more regular patrols and they
No, I mean,
used to.
if they
and-
wanted to purchase or live in the area.
Oh, I think it's still the same sealed bid process.
I know we're looking at a different area to move to, and I would suggest that, just based on what I've seen throughout other communities, that if we somehow would make an incentive for those who are in serving, law enforcement and fire, let's say they get $10,000 off or an increased incentive, I think that would be good for those that are serving in law enforcement and fire, and also it would promote them living inside the city and in those neighborhoods as well.
A lot of times the city gives these, bid will come in for $500. Plus the city will have some incentives sometime for low-cost loans where they're second behind a first mortgage to a commercial banker. So that's an incentive, but they've got to meet some income requirements too. So sometimes that, I don't
It's
know
just-
what
yeah.
they make.
It's just something that we could look at as we
Yeah.
move forward. I just think it'd be nice if we could say, they're serving at night, they're protecting. Over and beyond, we're doing this to help home ownership in that area for those that serve and make that opportunity available for them. I hope our city would want to do that too, even if it costs.
Yeah, Bob's on the urban renewal board.
That's why I was
so
saying that. and I
he
was saying
gets,
that.
We'll take that under.
Yeah, I was saying that.
I appreciate that comment. I think that would be beneficial, because they certainly are not as appreciated as we
Absolutely.
could.
I mean, it'd be a great way to show appreciation.
We might even take that further and go with teachers and et cetera.
It could be. Yeah.
But anyway,
But it
it's all
also
depending
creates a
on the
certain
funding.
presence
All
in a
depending on the
neighborhood
funding.
that
I'm
you
sure
want.
that's what it boils down to.
Absolutely.
Are there any-
Just an idea for
Good idea.
something that we can think about.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Morrison,
Aye.
Mr. Shale,
Aye.
Mr. Wade,
Aye.
Mr. Benberry,
Aye.
Mr. Bradford,
Aye.
Vice Chair Trainer.
Aye. Is there any other business that we would like to hear about this evening? If not, we stand adjourned. Thank you for coming.